Hello YouTube friends, welcome to another edition of Double D Card Talk. On today's episode we're going to be giving hints and tips to young collectors. So without further ado, I'm Dustin Abraham and here is my tips for the kids. Okay, the first tips are going to be about storage of baseball cards. And right away I'm going to start with binders. Some people don't like binders, but if you're a young collector starting out, you have to have binders. And the reason why is you're going to want to look at your collection. And it's not practical to have all of your cards in top loaders. That would take up way too much space, it would cost way too much money, so you're going to have binders. The problem with binders is they're very hard to keep organized. You're going to find yourself wanting to reorganize them often, and don't do that. The more and more times you pull your cards in and out of pages, you're going to damage the corners. You're going to do more damage to the cards if you constantly are rearranging them. So what we need to try for is disorganized organization. So you need to pick a way to organize your cards. The most obvious one is teams. So we have tons of binders, but these are our three main binders. And this top binder is American League. So you open it up and you see the first page is Indians. And then you'll go Indians. You see they're not really in any order other than that they're Indians. The Topps cards aren't necessarily next to Topps cards. The Lindors aren't next to Lindors. The Albert Bells aren't next to Albert Bells. Because they weren't all put in at the same time. They weren't, the collection isn't going to be finished. This isn't a main PC binder, so there's really no way to organize them because you're going to accumulate more cards and then you're going to have to rearrange them. So just put them into teams and deal with the fact that they are not organized. And then to your teams, you got at the end of the page, you add more, fill up all your Indians pages, put a new page behind it, put more Indians cards in, so forth and so on. If you see missing holes in my binders, that means I probably sent them cards off to somebody. And you'll be more picky about the cards that you put in your binders as you go. When you begin, you're going to be putting a crap ton of cards in your binders, and then after a while you fill up and you realize your binder isn't going to take many more pages. You could start taking out Devon White and put in a better card, upgrade. But that's really the best way that I've found to go about it. And it doesn't have to be by teams. Let's see, we got the American League binder, we have a National League binder, and a football binder is the red one. And we actually decided to do something different with that one. Instead of going by teams, we went by positions. So the first section is quarterbacks, and then running backs and wide receivers. We have a section in the back that's for only 16, 17 rookies. So you get the idea. Another thing is, what am I going to do with my common cards? Okay, there's lots of things you can do. Oh, we woke Furbaka up. These things, I have a ton of these from when I was a kid. The problem is, they're a lot more expensive now than they used to be. I think these things are like $15 for a piece of plastic. So, oh, you be quiet, Furbaka. So anyways, we have one of these for American League, one for National League. They're both starting to get full. But if you can't afford those, your dad or somebody behind you doesn't collect, I'm going to throw Furbaka off to the side here. We go to the most all-time greatest baseball card storage box, and that is a shoe box. So right here you see a lot of hits. I'm running long on time here on my tips. These boxes that Card Crate sends are perfect. See there, you got to just label it. I've got vintage cards in there. I got oddball stuff in there. got one of these things. It's perfect for your top-loaded cards, and you can label it Miguel Sano, Twins Autos, etc. And eventually these are all going to go in a PC binder with Miguel Sano, Kirby Puckett, and Buxton. And when I get that going, I'll show you guys. But that's beside the point. Anyways, this is just the disorganized organization mess. One final thing I want to talk about, I'm sorry I'm going so long here, is something that didn't exist when I was younger collecting, and that is the different sizes of cards that drives me up the wall. You have to buy 50 different sizes of top loaders, and it's crazy. So, find this thing here. You can print this page off, and we'll leave a link. And you can print this page off the wallet size, and you can carry it with you wherever you go. Put your card up to these, and then you could tell which top loader, which one touch to use for that particular size. And that's all. I better get off of here and let B-Side go with his hints.
Hey there guys, it's B-Side, Dustin Bellinger coming back, and Dustin Abraham just dropped some great information there on all of you with the binders. Some really good tips. I know back in the day I was the guy that dinged up and messed up a lot of his cards, shuffling them around in the binders, because I had my sorting system where I was constantly moving them around and reshuffling them as I added new cards into my collection, and just a terrible idea, and just ruined and marred up so many cards from doing it. Anyway, some tips that I have for you here is, so maybe binders don't work for everybody, and if you don't want to go the top loader route, which can get expensive, there is a middle ground that is a little bit more cost efficient, and that is card savers. And if you're not familiar, card savers, show you a quick example here. Notice it's kind of semi-rigid, kind of similar in size to a top loader, and not quite as hard, but it will still protect your card. Now if you really yanked on it, you could certainly still crease them, but this will keep your cards protected. Say you could put them, you know, in a shoebox or whatever, and not worry about dinging them up or getting them creased up and worked out, and it would still be cheaper for you than top loadering all of them. Now with your card savers, there are some different sizes, and I'm going to refer to the card saver sizes just because they standardize it and it's a little easier to explain. Now there are other brands that have the different sizes that you can buy, but most of them will refer to what like the card saver size is, so that you're able to kind of match it up. Now this here is a card saver 1. Now really this is the one that I would recommend you buy the most of if you're gonna be doing this, because it has the widest range of application. This is a 56 tops card. It is a little bit larger than your standard cards that would start coming in after that year. You can kind of see here as I overlap that's just a little bit bigger than the 67 tops card, which really Tops hasn't changed for their standard base cards. It's stayed pretty much this format since 1957. But if you got some of these older issues, or you buy some kind of oddball sets, or if anybody's familiar with the 89 Bowman, they were a little bit larger. Those wouldn't fit in my binder pages when I was a kid, and I ruined the tops on almost all of them trying to store them in binders, and it didn't work. So one of these, the Card Saver ones, work great for just about all of your standard issues. Occasionally, maybe you do want to go another route. There is here a Card Saver 2s. Now, these work really great for some of your smaller issues. So, like, this here is like a 50 Callahan. This is a 51 Bowman, which a little bit smaller card issues, as you can see. And I'll show you this. You can kind of see as I overlap it that the Card Saver 2, it's a little bit shorter and a little bit more narrow than the Card Saver 1s. Now, you can fit some of your standard issue cards, just the basic stuff, into a Card Saver 2. It's a tight fit though, and I don't recommend it. So definitely, I would stick to like your Allen and Ginter minis if you're going to put those in there. That would probably be the best option. Now, there's Card Saver 3s and Card Saver 5s. Really, there's not a lot of practical uses for those sizes. So I would say, if you're getting into some of your larger format oddball stuff, a Card Saver 4 is the way to go. They're what I use here for collect a lot of kind of some oddball, larger format premiums and things, and they fit in those really well. Now, just like Dustin Abraham was talking with the top loaders and finding the right width or size top loader, really, I suggest, if you're going to go this route and you want to collect some oddball stuff, it's like definitely take time to acquire the supplies that you want to store your items before you start acquiring the items, because when you get the item, if you don't have the right stuff to store it, you've got to take the time to order it, wait for it to get to you, and then you're taking a risk with your items that they're going to get damaged or dinged up while you're waiting. So that's what I've got for you here. I'm going to turn it back over to Dustin Abraham here for his next talk, and then I'll come back here with a little bit of a talk about fan packs.
Those are some very good tips by Mr. Bellinger. But now we're going to talk about NPN. What? What NPN stands for is no purchase necessary. If you look on the back of a pack of cards that you buy, it could be baseball, football, hockey, Star Wars, whichever you buy, there's going to be a list of odds of getting certain inserts. And you probably already know that, but what you may not know is that you can send away to get a chance to win one of those inserts at the same odds. So if you look, there will be an address that you can write to try to win free cards. Not 100% free, you do have to pay for a stamp and an envelope. What you need is an index card, a 3x5 index card, and you need to write your name and address on said index card, and then you need a number 10 envelope. An envelope this size, I'm not sure what the exact dimensions are, but as you can see, it's 9.5 by whatever. So you put that in the envelope. Hard to do one-handed, I guess, apparently. And then you fill in the address that's listed on the pack. You need to be careful, because there is a date. You must be postmarked by January 4th and received by January 11th, so this one's no good anymore. But you write to that address, and you never know. You might not get anything back, but when you do get something back, it's going to be a pleasant surprise, because you're going to be like, oh, I forgot all about this. I forgot I sent this way back in August, and here it is, January, and I got a really neat card. So I send one out for every new pack that we get, and I have only gotten 2 back so far, but I still think it's worth it. I still think it's worth a shot. I think it's worth a chance. It's something that I like to do, so I do it. If you're from Canada, you have to do a math problem also on the index card. So something like that. I don't know why. It's something to do with Canada's laws and whatnot. But there you have it. That has been my edition of DD Card Talks. And now let's hand it off to Dustin B for his final tips.
So great stuff there from Dustin Abraham again. Now, one more topic that I want to talk to you guys about here is requesting fan packs from your favorite team. You can do this, for your favorite teams or any team that you feel like trying to score a little free swag from, and who doesn't like free? Well, the best place to start on this, I believe, is right at the official website for the team that you're wanting to request from. Track down their official website, do a little browsing on the site. You use that search feature. Nearly every website should have it. Do a search for a fan pack. You may be able to find something in frequently asked questions that'll give you instructions for how to request a fan pack. If you're not seeing that, find a contact us link and get in touch with somebody in their public relations department. Let them know that you're a fan of their team and you'd like to know how to go about receiving a fan pack. And in all likelihood, nearly all of these teams, they want to put their best foot forward. Anytime dealing with the public, they should send you a response really promptly and helpfully that lets you know how to go about getting that. You might run into some teams that maybe just don't do it, but I think that's going to be the exception much more than the rule, depending on who you're trying to seek that swag from. So give it a try, check it out and see what you can get. Now remember, most of the time with your fan packs, a lot of these teams, they send out stuff. If they send out a card or something similar to a card, chances are it's not the standard card size that you're used to. A lot of times it's a larger format item, normally around postcard size. So hey, before you do this, maybe you want to check in and make sure you get a few of those card saver 4 size card savers. Just another helpful hint there. Okay guys, that's all we have for this month's episode of Double D Card Talk. Look forward to another episode next month. Hey, now remember, if you want to see every episode, you need to be subscribed to both myself and Dustin Abraham. I'll make sure that there's a link to his channel in the description if perhaps you're not subscribed to him already. Otherwise, this has been a lot of fun, and we'll look forward to talking to you guys again next month.